We have 1 month to turn this base model Corvette into a drift monster for Drift Week. It's got to be done for December, and James Dunn, who bought my S14, is the owner. Hey everyone, we are doing a full Drift Week drift build on this Corvette. This is James Dunn's Corvette. He is going to slowly progress into a pro level car Corvette, but we're going to start him off with something simple. This is a 2005 C6 Corvette. I think it's a Z51, meaning it's like just above the base model, so it's got like heated seats, slightly larger brakes, but that's about it. We're going to do all the standard stuff, like a 5x114 bolt conversion, an angle kit up front, some wider fenders, probably all around, some Kansai wheels, some BC coilovers, and all of FDF products, interior and exterior, and on the suspension. Then we're going to send it over to get probably just a cam, springs, head studs. We're going to put a rad in it for cooling, maybe an oil cooler to keep the oil temps down as well. All in all, it's going to be basically the same as my Grand Sport car that you guys have seen so much of, but it's going to have a roll cage in it as well, making this car pretty much legal for any competition, FD legal from Cage Kits. We have a month and a half. As far as painting and wrapping goes, that is where we always aren't good at. We might get it wrapped and we might paint the cage and stuff, but those are the only things that I don't know how we're going to do, but we will figure it out and find the right guy. So you guys are going to watch me, Kyle, Cam, and some other guys pick away at this. We're going to probably get some install content and maybe even refresh or improve some products. Stay tuned and watch everything that we do on this car for Drift Week build.
So today is the day that Kyle and Cam are starting the cage in the Corvette. We got the cage from Cage Kits, everything came in. A lot of prep goes into it. So Kyle already prepped the whole chassis, obviously. Cam's just getting the base plates ready. So he's welding those on his table. He did some cleaning up on the corners of the chassis, just so you have perfect weld prep all the way around. I'm in my mom's car. Broom, broom.
So we're building the ultimate drift car trailer. This is a 4x6 base with full suspension. The cool thing about this trailer is that it is being built specifically for this Corvette. We are making it use the same wheels, the same wheel bearings, the same suspension, coilovers, Corvette BC Racing coilovers, and all sorts of other tricks of the trade. I used to build trailers way back in the day just as a side hobby, mostly utility trailers, and I am just applying what I did 12 years ago here, but with like crazy suspension, trailing arm, coilovers, bearings, things like that. All of it has been simulated on the computer. Just some cool ideas that really make it stand out. Cam and I just tacked together this fender. This fender is designed to hold the fender even when the wheel goes through its suspension articulation. It kind of looks cool with these claws. And then because it was all simulated, you can have tolerance fits like this, where it's exactly a finger gap between all points of the wheel, and the wheel bolts to the Corvette wheel bearing. This is a front C6 wheel bearing. Yeah, so it's just a really cool project. Can't say wheels are going to be on the Corvette. They're on his S14 that he bought for me, and now they're on this trailer. Cam welded up the frame last week. Everything from the design process was great. We just basically need to get it to a paintable stage, so we have to like dry fit everything before we go send it to paint. And so the wheels are actually going to sit in here, 4 total. I plan on making a T-bar style, like what drags you up the hill on a ski, but it'll pivot from the center and come down and basically apply pressure on all 4 tires, so you don't need to like individually strap them. That may not work, but we're gonna try it out, because it'd be really cool if you just had one strap in the middle going to a ring here, and you just tighten down one strap and it applies pressure on all 4 tires, and the tires can't roll out because you have 3 points of contact. So that would be super cool, to load your tires and then flop down a bar, and then your tires are not moving. This is going to be a nice wood deck. The width was designed exactly to fit 4 2x6s on each side. A 2x6 is actually 1.5 by 5.5 inches. This is 1.5 inch square tube, so it's going to sit perfectly level with the tubing. We're also going to put hooks every foot of the trailer on the front, the back, and the sides. You can never have too many hooks on a trailer for bungee cording, strapping, holding things down. And I don't want to drill into it because if you drill into square tubing, it's access for moisture, access for water. So just applying everything that I've learned into this trailer and kind of trying to make it really nice and cool at the same time. Definitely didn't need it to be suspension. Would have saved me a ton of time if it wasn't. That's what makes this thing really cool. So. The coolest thing ever. Do you see that just going down the road? This spacer is about 30 thou larger than the tube. So we have this slot. So that means when we powder coat these things, paint these things, they're gonna assemble really nicely. We're gonna have a ring here. It's gonna have a strap going to the ring down there. And this is going to be what holds your tires down. And then when you're wanting to unload your tires, you're just gonna flip this. It's gonna sit there, you're gonna take your tires off, do all your stuff. And then when you're done with it, flip it back down, tie it down. All 4 tires aren't going anywhere. And if there's no tires here, you can fold this completely down out of the way. And then the last thing is this whole thing can actually be removed. And I imagine if you want to use this trailer for more than what it is, you could remove this post, you could put 4x8 sheets on here of plywood, you could put drywall on it, you could do a bunch of random things with this trailer. Otherwise, if this wasn't removable, you probably wouldn't be able to fit on the deck here. It's only a 4x6 size, but from the tongue to the back, it's just over 10 feet. So you could do a lot with this, and that's why I'm making this removable. And it's cool, and it gives us the chance to put a logo on here, and we can powder coat this stuff an offset color, so when the chassis and the frame is powder coated black, but we do this green, it'll highlight the logo and you'll be able to see all that kind of stuff. So we like to do little details like this. And we're just gonna add one more piece to the puzzle. I'm gonna put these on the front. We're gonna have a beam going to there. And that's gonna truss up this section, because when we put a bunch of weight on this, we had knee tires and some other things, so probably, I don't know, 450, 500 pounds. There was a little bit of deflection in the, I mean, this is mild steel square tube, so you're gonna get some deflection, but it's because of the length of the tongue. So the length of this tongue is a bit longer than it should be, but if you're going at higher speeds, you want a longer trailer for stability, you want a decent amount of tongue weight, and it's a lot easier to back up and drive with if it's a bit longer, so that's why I made it this way. You can always go shorter. I guess you could always go longer too. You could sleeve it and extend it if you wanted to, but and then it gives us just another placement for a logo up front. These are the factory spec spring rates on this trailer, and I'm 210 pounds. I would imagine there would be probably 300 to 400 pounds on this, so maybe another small person could jump on this, but these are just tacked, so I don't want to go crazy, but if you look at the angle of the coilover and how it's mounted, we've actually created a motion ratio where the wheel will travel 2 inches, the shock will only compress 1 inch, giving us the mechanical advantage on the heavier spring, making this trailer quite functional even with a heavy shock and spring, just because of the motion ratio. So, and it's also sleek because it doesn't affect our bed at all. We still have our full, basically a 4x4 deck here. But if I had have made a tower for this up here, I would have had to interfere with that. Plus, this being 1.5" square tubing, I think that if I had have mounted the coilovers vertically, the rotational force on this square tube would have wanted to just twist rather than actually use the suspension. So you probably would have needed a strut bar or some kind of reinforcement, which is more weight. It wouldn't work as well, and it might interfere with where the deck space is. So this works perfectly, exactly how I had thought. It's pretty sick.
Very sick.
I definitely want one of these, but unfortunately, we don't have time to make.
No time.
Alright, so we're fitting the overs from 945 Garage. Messaged Danny, said I had a specific deadline to have these at my shop for. We're in Canada. They were shipped without us having a conversation about it. They were shipped the exact day that he said they would be. And the fitment's really quite nice. Basically on this one, I'm just lining up the rear side marker. And without doing too much work, it sits really nice with the pocket for the handle. The other side has a gas cap, that fit well. So it's quite an easy process so far. I mean, it is a drift car, so really we're just clearing out the old fender, making sure a wider wheel fits, and putting this on. This is a base model, so this increase in over fender is a lot. It's changing this car completely, and they look great.